Hello booktube, my name is Elizabeth. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Bookends and Books. This video is going to be a bit different from other videos that I've made on my channel because the book I'm about to read is a bit different from what I usually read on my channel. I'm about to read the hottest new release, and I don't read the hottest new releases, but this is a hot new release. This is Spare by Prince Harry. I got a copy from the library. It's an express loan. I have 1 week to read it. And I thought it would be fun if I did some sort of vlog where I would react to the book as I read it. Because I suppose I will have some reactions to it. I already know pretty much the entire content of the book because I have watched all the drama in the past few days. I'm starting to read this on Friday, January 13, so that means the book has been out for about 4 days. However, there were leaks in Spain. It was released last week, and there were leaks to various newspapers. So anyway, I'm aware of the revelations in this book. However, I am still curious about the content, the context in which these revelations happen. I'm curious about the tone of the book. And yeah, I want to read it for myself. I want to make my own idea of the book and see what is Prince Harry's version of events. As I said, I come to this book with a bit of context. However, I don't come with a made opinion about it. I'm not saying Prince Harry is the bad guy or Prince Harry is the good guy, is the victim or whatever. I'm coming to it with a very open mind. I'm willing to accept what Prince Harry has to say, and I'm also willing to reject it if I find that it's not credible. So yeah, I'm starting with this, and I will let you know what I think as I read the book. I've made it to the table of contents, so that's about, what, 2 pages in, and I already have something to say. The table of content, the part 1, 2, and 3 are entitled Out of the Night That Covers Me, Bloody but Unbowed, and Captain of My Soul. And these are, of course, quotes from the poem Invictus by Henley. And the reason that I know that is that I know that poem by heart. When I was in high school, one of our teachers made us learn poetry by heart, and this was one of them. And though I have forgotten it more than once, I have relearned it more than once. So I know it by heart, and I can say that this is from that poem. Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I think whatever God or gods, I don't know, may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. And then I know the rest. Anyway, this video is going to be too long. You can Google it. But already that tells me that Harry wants to position himself as a hero, because this poem was famously one of Nelson Mandela's favorite, and that's the reason why the movie with Matt Damon and with Morgan Freeman was called Invictus. And yeah, it's a poem of resistance, a poem of independence, and yeah, already the tone is set, I think, for the rest of the book. I am about 7 lines in, and I have something to say. It starts with a bunch of very short sentences. We agreed to meet a few hours after the funeral, in the Frogmore Gardens by the old Gothic ruin. I got there first. I looked around, saw no one, etc. And then there's the sentence, the weather was quintessentially April. Good grief. That's the ghostwriter speaking, because I know this was written by a ghostwriter. There's no way that Prince Harry knows how to use the word quintessentially, even though he went to Eton or Eton? Anyway, fancy school. He doesn't know that word, and he doesn't know how to use it. So I think that's going to be one of the challenges of reading this book, will be to try to figure out which are Henry's words, Harry's words. Yeah, his birth name is Henry. So which are his words and which are the ghostwriter's words? I have finished the prologue, which is about 6 pages long. So the electronic version is 378 pages long, and the prologue is 6 pages long. And he's not starting well with me. I have to admit, so far I have no sympathy. I've already underlined a bunch of stuff. You probably can't see, but it's color coded, so that there's purple and there's yellow and there's blue. And the yellow, I hope I'm not going to have to use it so much, is for patent stupidity. Just coming off the page, something that appears profound, but is just utterly dumb. I'll give you, for example, the first line. He's thinking about his grandfather, and that there's a rumor that it was his grandfather, Prince Philip, who brokered his parents' marriage. If so, an argument could be made that Grandpa was the prime cause in my world, but for him, I wouldn't be here. Whether he brokered your parents' marriage or not, you wouldn't be here without him, because your grandfather was the father of your father, and your father is your father, and without either of them, you wouldn't be there. So it's fake profound. That bothers me a lot. In purple, it is self-aggrandizement. He is comparing what he's doing to his mother, because he's talking about a meeting he had with his father and his brother following his grandfather's funeral. So that's the prologue. And it says, people forgot how much my mother strove for peace. He gives some example. And I knew how desperately she would want, did want peace between her boys and between us two and Pa and among the whole family. So basically, he's associating his mother's work with AIDS and with minefields and things like that to his fight with his family, with his conversation with his father and brother. It could have been yellow also. It's utterly stupid. And the blue is the lack of kindness towards his family. They are walking in the cemetery, and of course, then Prince Charles, now King Charles, is talking about various people who are buried there. And Harry says, a lifelong student of history, he had loads of information to share. And part of me thought we might be there for hours and that there might be a test at the end. And I know that this is supposed to be self-deprecating for Harry, but it ends up being just mean for Charles. He basically is saying, well, he will just babble about history whether people are listening to it or not. So it lacks kindness already in the first 6 or 7 pages. And in that conversation between his father and his brother and himself, his brother tells him that he doesn't know why Harry left. He doesn't understand. And Harry basically says that he was taken aback by that, and that this book is the answer to that question, that hopefully that with this book, his father and his brother will listen, which is, of course, utterly stupid. It's not going to happen. So this is the prologue. So now I'm going into the meaty part 1, Out of the Night That Covers Me, and it starts with a picture of Diana and Harry. I am on page 19 of 378, so I'm barely dipping a toe in. And I just gasped in horror at what I read. So he's recounting the moment he was told his mother was dead. I suppose I'm not quite there yet. So basically he's telling that he doesn't remember much about that first week in Balmoral. And he's preparing us for a memoir that is basically worthless. He starts by saying the way his memory works. Landscape, geography, architecture, that's how my memory rolls. Dates? Sorry, I'll need to look them up. Dialogue? I'll try my best, but make no verbatim claims, especially when it comes to the 90s. So basically he's telling us that the dates are all wrong and the dialogues that he will be recounting never happened, or if they happened, that is not what was said. And then a few lines later, and that's the worst. Whatever the cause, my memory is my memory. It does what it does, gathers and curates as it sees fit. So far, I'm fine with it. And there's just as much truth in what I remember and how I remember it as there is in so-called objective facts. And that's where I gasped. No, there isn't. An objective fact is an objective fact. It is not a fault. I don't know how to explain. How do you argue with somebody who claims that whatever he feels and whatever he thinks is as true as anything else? He's basically telling us that I cannot lie to you because I do not recognize anything as being a lie. If I feel it, it is true. If I remember it, it is true. And everybody knows, well, I don't know if everybody knows it, but it's been accepted that memories can be constructed. I can say, oh, I remember I was sick on my first birthday. no, I don't remember it. I saw pictures of it and I was told that I was sick. So I don't remember that I was sick on my first birthday. And memories can be changed, and memories are not reliable. It sucks, but that's what it is. And it is not as valid as objective facts. That is not how truth works. So I still have 360 pages left to read. How am I going to deal with the fact that he's announced already before in the first 20 pages, and the first 20 pages, they include the title page and the cover page and the table of content and all of that. So basically in about 10 pages, he has already announced that he doesn't know how to tell the difference between fact and fiction, and that for him that difference it doesn't matter. I don't like that way of thinking. It's wrong. It's just wrong. There's such a thing as an objective fact. It's not so-called objective fact. There's such a thing as an objective fact. And the fact that he can't recognize it is a problem. It's a very big problem. So I'll keep reading, though I'm wondering if I'll make it to the end. I stopped reading to film too quickly. The next sentence is even worse. So he complains about so-called objective facts. The next sentence is, things like chronology and cause and effect are often just fables we tell ourselves about the past. Chronology is a fable. That, I don't know, World War I happened before World War II. It's a fable? Good grief! If Harry is really that stupid, why did the ghost... well, I suppose the ghostwriter is stuck. He has to write it. Who lets him write stupid things like that? Chronology is a fable. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. It's a type of thinking I'm not used to. I don't know if it's thinking. I don't think it's thinking. I think it's feeling. It's not thinking at all. There's not a rational thought in there. Chronology is a fable. Chronology is a fable. The Middle Ages did not happen before the modern times. Antiquity did not happen before the Middle Ages. No, that's just chronology. It happened after. It happened together. Parallel universes, perhaps. Do I carry on? I don't think I'll make it to the end. I love royal gossip. I've read tons of it, and I've read crap in royal gossip. But this is reaching very high levels of stupidity. I have to say, I didn't watch a documentary, I don't know if we can call it a documentary, that Harry and Meghan made for Netflix. I do have Netflix, but I didn't watch it. On Christmas Day, I was sick, and I thought, oh, well, perhaps that would make me feel good. You know, something cozy, bit stupid, does not require a lot of brain. And despite the fact that I was completely sick, after 5 minutes, I thought, okay, this is just so dumb. And I guess even in book format, even if there's a professional writer between the stupidity and us, there's still a lot of stupidity. Chronology is just a fable. That I was not expecting. And I cannot believe that I haven't seen it yet, that journalists did not pick up on that chronology is just a fable. Good grief. To me, that's worse than any other revelation in the book. Oh, I'll carry on. Yeah. What's the motto? Keep calm and carry on. I'll keep calm and carry on. I have now reached page 50. That is chapter 20 of part 1 of the book. And I don't know if I'm going to continue. I'm done for the night, that's for sure. I'm very tired and I'm about to go to sleep now. But I don't know if I'm going to continue tomorrow because the book is not working for me. I am not enjoying it at all. I think there are several reasons for that. One is the writing style. It's too much, it's too simple. Subject, verb, complement, subject, verb, complement. Not always, but there are too many short sentences for my liking. And I think the ghostwriter was a bit stuck. I don't think he could write very complex sentences and make them pass for Harry's words. I think he had to write in a very simple style, otherwise it would have had no credibility. Not that it has a lot of credibility, that's the other thing. I've already mentioned a couple of times that it looks very much like the narration will be unreliable, and it's confirmed. He adds, I don't know if I should say the ghostwriter or Prince Harry, but I'm going to say Prince Harry, mentions more than once in this first 50 pages that his memory is not reliable. That he says, at one point he says, to explain why he wasn't good at school, to say that my memory is not working the way it once was. At another time, he says that the events after he was told that his mother had died were reconstructed memories after years of trying to reconstruct that morning. I think that's the words. So in my opinion, reconstructed memories may or may not be reliable. So I'm wondering why I'm reading the book. And because of the writing style that does not quite suit me, because of this truth that I'm not quite sure is actually truth, because I don't think I'm reading the truth. I'm reading a version of event that may or may not be true. And for these reasons, I sort of, well, not just sort of, I have no sympathy for Harry, and I am in the part of the book that is supposed to be the most moving. He's talking about the death of his mother, the aftermath. He's talking about when he was just a young teenager trying to find his place in the world. And that's the place where I'm supposed to feel a lot of sympathy for him. But I can't. And I guess if I read more of the book, perhaps I could understand why. I somehow suspect that it's because I'm not seeing just the 13-year-old boy there. I'm also seeing the 38-year-old man who cannot let go of a grudge. The 38-year-old man who is completely obsessed with the media and is willing to blame them for anything and everything. And the 38-year-old man who is incapable of reading other people. That's another thing that appears more than once in the first 50 pages. He understands other people's actions through his own obsessions. The most egregious example, I think, is the first break that he had in 1997. So his mother died at the end of August 1997, and in September he was back to his boarding school. And then about a month later, it was a mid-session break, and he was going back home. Now home was basically St. James Palace, where his father spent the most of his time. However, his father had an official trip planned for that week. So either Harry was left alone in the palace or Charles took him. And that's what happened. Charles took him with him to South Africa because that was the destination. And there they met Nelson Mandela, but they also met the Spice Girls. And they attended a Spice Girls concert, and they met the Spice Girls and all of that. And Charles attended the concert with Harry and just tried to enjoy the concert and tapping his foot and clapping his hand and trying to show some support to his son and just having a good time with his son. And then after that, Harry says, the truth was that Pa's staff was just looking for a good photo op, and that taking a picture with one of the most revered political figures and one of the most popular musical act of the day would do the trick. So basically, all the loving actions of his father, he reduces them to some sort of PR stunt. And that is painful to read. He is incapable of seeing what his father does for him. The other thing that is a bit painful to read, and even though I'm not very far in the book and I'm not expecting a memoir about childhood to be particularly full of insights, but it obviously lacks self-awareness. At some point, he talks about a matron who is one of the women who were in charge of the boys at Blood Grove. And he says that most of them were super nice, but one of them was not. And he gives a very cruel description of that woman, that she had greasy hair, that she had difficulty walking, that she was basically crooked, that she was slow, that she was cruel, or something like that. And then he says that she was, and I quote, empathy challenged. And my reaction was, well, look who's talking. Did you just hear the description you made of that woman? That is not a description that is full of empathy. You just mocked her disability. And yeah, that is kind of grating. And even though he's just talking about his childhood up to that point, I'm not expecting a child to see the world in a very balanced way. So in a sense, I could accept that this part of the book would be kind of selfish because that is the way children see the world. But I don't think that vision of things is the work of his childhood self. I think that vision of things, that point of view, is the point of view he still has as a 38-year-old. So that is a bit more troubling. So for all of these reasons, the reading is not particularly enjoyable. And I don't know if I'm going to continue. So stay tuned, I guess. I'll make another clip either because I continue reading tomorrow or because I don't. We are now Saturday morning. I have decided to return to Spare, but not to the point where I left off yesterday. I decided to go straight to part 3, which is about his relationship with Meghan Markle and probably how the entire thing unraveled with the royal family. And I've read about 10 pages in that part, and it's just not interesting. It's about how he met Meghan and how it was love at first sight, and how everything went perfectly from the start, and how they are made for one another and all of that. And the picture is just too rosy. There's something off about this. There's something, I don't know, I don't like it. Anyway, so I've decided to stop reading the book entirely. What's the point? If the part that is perhaps the most relevant, the most gossipy, so the one that should interest me the most, because I'm in the book for the gossip. And if that part does not interest me, and the part that is the most moving about his mother's death does not move me, then that means the book is not for me. So I am returning the book. So I'm going to do that with you. That's return. Doing. Yes. Confirmed. Bye-bye book. So if someone else wants to read it, they can borrow it now. So that's it for me. That's it for this mini reading vlog. Spare will have been my first DNF of the year. Let me know in the comment if you think you will attempt the book, or if you think that the book is clearly not for you. And that's it for me. I'm going to go enjoy a better book now. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next video. À la prochaine!